the risks of COVID-19 still continue to this day. We're starting to see transmission occurring in parts of the state where previously the number of new cases has been low. To be sure, as we've discussed, some of that is related to expanded testing. As I mentioned, we've hit a high mark there, but not potentially all of it. We've simultaneously seen new transmission events that have also occurred in those parts of the state. I say all this because as we go into the winter, the possibility that there could be greater levels of transmission is one that we are greatly concerned about. What we're also concerned about is just not the geographic distribution and dimensions of those transmissions, but the nature of where they are occurring. Up until now, much of our focus on COVID-19 as a state, as a country, has been on public areas where interaction with others are quite possible, on the street, so we're all wearing masks, in places like that, where we could be encountering others who, unbeknownst to us, might have COVID-19. But as we go into the winter and the colder months, and more activity occurs indoors, in and around people that we know, we have to now be equally concerned not so much about public spaces, but private spaces. This is a pattern that, according to some epidemiologists, has generated much of the transmission that we've seen in other parts of the country. In the Great Plains states, the upper Midwest, for example, the Dakotas, Iowa, Wisconsin. According to some epidemiologists, a large reason for the upticks in cases there is because, again, not of public space transmission, but private space transmission. I'm asking everyone to be on the lookout for that phenomenon here in Maine and to take steps to reduce it from happening. One of the first things that everyone can do in general to stay healthy is to go get your flu shot. We're all preparing for the winter months. For some of us, for many of us, that means taking steps to winterize everything around us, winterizing our car, winterizing our houses, winterizing our wardrobe. What I'm asking everyone to do today is not just winterize, but also immunize. We can do both at the same time. As you're doing things to prepare for the winter, for your home, for your car, for your clothing to keep you warm, I also ask that you winterize and immunize as well. This just doesn't stop with the flu shot, however. One of the unfortunate consequences of COVID-19 is that immunization rates, sadly, across the country have come down. Maine has not been an exception to that. We've particularly seen immunization rates that have fallen in and among adolescent populations. So for parents out there, before it gets too cold, this is a great time, a perfect opportunity to call your kids' healthcare providers and make sure that they have got their well child checkup, and particularly to make sure that they are up to date on all of their immunizations as we go into the colder months. But even there, it's not limited to adolescents and children. Adults have a vaccine schedule themselves. Many of us seem to have I myself forget that vaccines are just as important for adults as they can be for kids and adolescents. So for all of the adults who are watching right now, please reach out to your healthcare provider to make sure that you are up to date on your own adult immunizations. Depending on what age group you fall into, that can include making sure you've gotten your pneumonia vaccine, your shingles vaccine, and a number of other vaccines that are specifically geared toward adult populations. As we go into the colder months, one of the things that everyone who has been so kind to welcome me to Maine has emphasized to me is that you gotta find something to do in the cold months. Otherwise, being indoors is just too much to take. That's why we've started in my own family the process of getting ready for the winter. But I'm asking everyone today, as you winterize, please also immunize as well.